The fickle nature of the games industry means that sadly, there's a long list of video games and franchises that don't enjoy nearly as much success as they should. And of course, with game developers and publishers wanting to focus on the properties that are likelier to yield better profits, those underappreciated franchises end up getting left behind and forgotten. Here, we'll be taking a look at a few such franchises. Of course, given just how many similar examples there are out there, there will be plenty that we don't mention here, so if you spot an omission, let us know about it in the comments. Star Fox. Star Fox was once one of Nintendo's most promising franchises, though certainly not on the same level as something like Zelda or Mario. It was consistently received well by critics and audiences, and definitely sold well enough to warrant several sequels and new installments. As time went on though, it sort of faded into the background. We did get Star Fox Zero for the Wii U in 2016, but that game was a huge disappointment to say the very least. As such, we're now at a point where the future looks pretty dim for this beloved series. Banjo-Kazooie. 3D platformer Banjo-Kazooie stands to this day as one of the best things Rare has ever made, but sadly, the franchise didn't kick in the way many back in the day had expected it would. Two excellent platformers were followed by Microsoft's acquisition of Rare, which in turn was followed by them releasing Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts on the Xbox 360, which unfortunately wasn't exactly what fans of the series wanted. That said, with Banjo-Kazooie recently having shown up in Smash, and Microsoft showing a willingness to bring back beloved IPs developed by Rare in Perfect Dark, perhaps there's still hope for this one. Silent Hill. We could have easily filled at least half of this list with once great Konami franchises that have slowly wasted away in the last few years, but let's start with the obvious one. Back in the PS1 days, Silent Hill and Resident Evil were right up there together as the best of the best this medium had to offer. Silent Hill's psychological horror, excellent game design, and narrative strengths instantly endeared the series to millions, and Konami wasted all of it. Poor management saw them outsourcing the franchise to developers who just didn't grasp what the point of the series was, which, unsurprisingly, led to games that underperformed on critical and commercial fronts, which, in turn, led to Silent Hill's demise. Relentless rumors over the last couple of years have insisted that the series is coming back soon. We have no way of knowing right now if it will, but we really hope it does. Metal Gear. And of course, when we're talking about dead, beloved video game franchises from Konami, we have to mention Metal Gear. Unlike Silent Hill, Metal Gear's fall from grace was very sudden. For over 2 decades, Hideo Kojima's stealth series ruled everyone's hearts and minds, and then abruptly, it didn't. Kojima left under controversial circumstances, and The Phantom Pain, a highly uneven game for all of its strengths, proved to be the last time we ever saw this series, unless you count Metal Gear Survive, which you shouldn't. Again, leaks have claimed that a Metal Gear revival is in the works as well, so let's keep our fingers crossed that it happens, and happens well. Left 4 Dead. The co-op zombie shooting craze, which has pretty much become an industry staple at this point, was brought about by the revelation that was Left 4 Dead, and then with its sequel, Valve managed to improve upon it even further. With those 2 games, they delivered some of the best shooters and best co-op games of all time, so for a franchise that was flying as high as it was and didn't stumble the way so many others on this list did, why exactly did it go away? Well, because Valve did what Valve does and decided to focus elsewhere, which means not on games. Left 4 Dead 3 was in development at some point, but ultimately ended up getting cancelled, and now there's no telling when or if there will be another one of these to dive into. At least we have Back 4 Blood now though. That's something. Jak and Daxter. The trilogy of games put out by Naughty Dog was an absolute treat from beginning to end, and knowing that we might never get another one of these games is heartbreaking. Sure, we got The Lost Frontier, but that was nothing to write home about. With Naughty Dog completely focused on very different kinds of games now, maybe Sony will be able to find another studio that could take Jak and Daxter forward. One can only hope. ONIMUSHA. The last few years have seen Capcom making an excellent recovery, with many of its beloved franchises getting back to their absolute best. Not all of them though. There's a plethora of Capcom properties that could make the cut here, but the one that we're desperate to see a revival for more than perhaps any other is ONIMUSHA. This precursor to character action games combined deliberate action, level design, and mechanical depth perfectly, and though the series gradually deteriorated as time went on, we'd still love for it to come back stronger than ever. The 2019 remaster gives us hope that maybe Capcom is at least thinking about going in that direction, and the Capcom ransomware leak in 2020 definitely suggested the same, so we're keeping our fingers crossed for this one. Deus Ex. This one really hurts. After a torturously long hiatus, Deus Ex made its triumphant return with the excellent Human Revolution back in 2013, and for a while, it looked like the series was firmly back on track. And then came Mankind Divided, which for all of its inherent flaws and marketing blunders, was still a great game at its core, and even improved upon its predecessor in some meaningful ways. Those issues affected the game's critical and commercial performance though, and Square Enix decided to put any and all plans for future installments in the series on hold. Square Enix and Eidos Montreal have both insisted since then that Deus Ex isn't dead, just on ice, but right now, it's hard to see a way back for the franchise anytime soon. SSX. In the ridiculously long list of excellent franchises that have imploded due to EA's poor management, SSX is one of the ones that hurts the most. Each of the first 3 games in the series were top-notch instant classics, and still are to this day, and though the 3 games that followed weren't on the same level, there was plenty of enjoyment to be had with each of them as well, to varying degrees of course. The 2012 reboot, however, wasn't the sort of revival that series fans and EA had hoped it would be, and since then, there's been no sign of SSX anywhere. Hopefully, that will change in the not-so-distant future, because when SSX was at its best, there was nothing else quite like it. So what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below, and if you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.